So, salutations, individual, and welcome to a different kind of stream. No game this time, no none of that. I was just, consider this to be another update, I guess. I don't know. Just, I stumbled upon something interesting that gave me some food for thought. And I've been gathering some notes about the basics of how to be a good streamer. I'm trying to learn so I can be better to, improve, to be more interesting, more fun, more, successful. As you do. I mean, that's something everyone in their lives wants, is to be more successful, to provide for those they care about and all that. And yeah. And I was thinking, why just watch these videos and read these articles and whatnots when I can share my thoughts about them? This isn't some big scheme to get ahead or to profit off of those who just want to get a start just like me. If you're watching this, I appreciate it, I genuinely appreciate that you're sticking around for these admittedly more boring videos. I mean, it's not flashy, there's no scary like monsters or gore or guns, shooty bang bang, none of that. It's just talking. I don't know, I guess I'm just not used to being more relaxed, I guess. But, yeah. Figured I'd get a couple of things squared away, and I've got my notes here from some of the stuff I've been reading and watching, and I figured I'd go over them one step at a time. So just yeah, this video isn't to or about anyone in particular. It's just kind of wandering thoughts in the middle of the night. I'm just sitting in my chair. 5 in the morning. It's probably should be asleep right now, but I just can't really sleep, so I'm just relaxing, Yeah. So the first of the notes that I've got here is to set goals. And honestly, this is a good advice for anyone in any walk of life, really. I can't imagine living a life without goals in mind, because, okay, so the end result isn't the only thing that matters, okay? It's also about the path to get there, but there is no point in getting anywhere unless you know what you're getting yourself into, So, way I see it is, so this one YouTuber, I don't know if it's okay to say names or not, so I'm just not going to step on toes. He said to write down 3 key things. The first is, when are you going to start? Well, I've already got that down. I'm already starting. I'm ready to rock and roll. I've been doing videos for years now. It's just that you guys haven't really seen any of them because Okay, so full disclosure, when I first started, I thought, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do Twitch and YouTube, right? And this is good, because with Twitch, you get more audience engagement. It's more exciting to play games together, and that's what I want, is to play stuff together, to enjoy time together with my community. But there's also no permanence to it, and, this gets touched upon later. So that's why I figured the YouTube channel, because there is no way that I can establish my legacy with just Twitch alone, especially considering that even if I were to reach the peak of power, it's all just gone in a matter of 2 months, you know? I mean, currently, in my current state, Twitch keeps all of my VODs for 7 days, and then each video gets auto deleted. Now, I don't really care about my testing streams, all those things. You may have noticed there's a few testing videos and streams in my VODs that appear occasionally. This is literally just me doing audio tests and all those boring things to make sure that I'm ready for proper streaming. And those, I don't care if they disappear. I suppose there'd be some. Like down the road, there'll be somebody who's keeping recordings of all my testing bullshittery. That's a funny thought, but yeah, I don't really think that that's something that's a priority. But real videos, like my challenge videos, lore videos, etc., etc., the story that I have to tell, that stuff, I will not tolerate letting those disappear. So that's why I figure, doing Twitch is more fun than doing YouTube, because with YouTube you're just, kind of the town crier, whereas in Twitch I feel like I'm more connected to my community, like we're more in this together, shoulder to shoulder we stand by each other. But without YouTube, it's all just gone, and that kind of puts some things into perspective about permanence. So, anyways, side tangent aside, when I first started, I already had that clear set in mind goal of, okay, I'm gonna do Twitch and YouTube, right? And so this was both a good idea and a bad idea. The good idea is because of what I've previously established. It's very important to make it fun and exciting, but also to establish a legacy so that more people can, be together in this. But the thing is that it's not as easy as people think to learn all of these different things. Not just the boring mechanics of this is what this does, this is what that does, blah de blah de blah, this is that setting, this is how to make it work on Linux, etc., etc., etc. Now there's more to that. There's also the understanding of the differences in subcultures of the different sites, and the way in which you're expected to behave and carry yourself. And yeah, I know. I was aware of all of that from the beginning. What I was not aware of was how to go about learning all these things. See, over the past year now, I have been learning. I have been growing. And thanks to the support of my closest friends and family, I've been able to get things set up so that I can start moving in a better direction, And I'm really thankful to them for that. I really dearly appreciate everything that they've ever done for me and with me. I know that without their support, I couldn't get even half of this stuff down, Like, realistically, I am not that technically savvy. I have the tech guy for that, and I don't know if it's okay to... I don't have his permission yet to really... to name him or any of that. Not yet, but... yeah. but I really appreciate that he's helped me get along on the technical standpoint. And as far as art design goes, I'm really thankful for the work that Flaky Flakes has been doing. She's been doing a fantastic job making various art assets. You may notice by now, by the time you're seeing this video, that there's emotes for the channel. She did all of those except for two of them. Those ones are AI generated, but you know, every other emote on the channel is done by that one artist, and you can probably tell because it's all in her art style. Also, she's working on the banners, the stuff you'll see down below the video in a little while. And I can't promise anything more, but in the future I do hope that we can work together to make stuff like custom alerts and stuff. But in the meantime, I want to make sure to pace ourselves in this process, because I want to make sure that I can pay what is due, you know? I'm not just one of those cheap skinflint cutthroat YouTubers out there that they don't pay their artists or they don't pay their editors. No. I insist that you get paid for the work that you did. Why? Because I could have done it myself. I could have taken the time to learn, but instead I entrust in you to do it, you know? And I appreciate that. I really do. And I really appreciate you taking the time it takes to get to know these things, to understand how they work, and to work with me to develop this story, to work together with me, you know? I really appreciate it. Another artist, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to credit her yet or not, because, you know, it's not finished. We still need to go through negotiations, all that, yada, yada, yada. But for those who've been paying attention in my community lately, you would know that I'm currently having an artist work on the VTuber avatar of Annihilatron. This is very important, and I'm super excited to see it done, or at the very least, stages of progress. I've received good news thus far, and I'm super excited to see how it pans out. But just know that you're appreciated as well. Like, I know it can't be easy modeling and sketching and framing and animating and rigging and all that. I would know, because if it was so easy, I would have already done it, you know? And it's why I insist that... So, there have been a couple of times where folks have told me, hey, don't worry, you don't need to worry about paying me yet. You can just do it, you know, and I'll help you, I'll support you. But I appreciate the kind gesture. I appreciate it greatly, but I also insist that everyone get paid their fair share. The rough thing is, I don't really have that kind of cash right now, honestly, but I will. I do fully intend to. Whether it be thanks to your support, the support of the viewers, which, I mean, that'll be what we're hinging on later down the road, but for now, I understand that's not going to be so easy. But in a more immediate sense, I am willing to jump back into the gladiatorial pit that is customer service. I would do other day jobs, but I'm already at a disadvantage when it comes to job interviews and all that, so, you know, gotta leverage what strengths I have. Just to be clear, like many other customer service workers, I despise the job. I am even less cut out for actual customer service than most people. But that's primarily just because I do actually value myself. Like, there's a lot of corporations out there, they expect too much from their workers. They expect you to be 100% available all the time, especially during hours that you are specifically not available in. And I know this from experience. My previous boss kept trying to get me to show up for hours that she knows I'm not available because I'm trying to catch up on sleep that I'm lacking. And it was either work those hours or get fired. So, I can't tell you how many times I've gone 10 days in a row without sleep. It was definitely the. Yeah, no, it was definitely the worst job I've ever worked at. But it was all worth it because it got me to where I am now. It got me prepared financially and mentally for what lies ahead. But most importantly, though, it gave me an appreciation for the things in life that I used to take for granted, you know? Like, before I thought, oh, hey, streaming can't be that hard. It's just a place where a bunch of lazy assholes get to go and beg for free money from people and get paid millions to just sit around and complain about how they don't have enough money. But no, there's more to it than that. Sure, there are people out there who are like that, but in all honesty, in all straightforwardness, I do not plan on being like that. That's not part of my set goals, if you will. You know? My goals are simple. I don't plan on being the top streamer, the new Mr. Beast, the new Doug, the new etc. Big name, everything in neon lights. People literally kill each other for your signature on a book, that kind of thing. That's not my goal here. If we're talking financial goals, yeah, whatever, I guess. I mean, so long as I get enough to feed my family and pay the rent and pay for everyone who supports me, such as the artists, the editor, when I have one, etc., etc. And once I get enough to comfortably pay my support staff, my team, once I get that and enough to live decently, I don't really care about making it big. Money is not my end goal. Sure, it's a necessary step towards what I seek to accomplish, but it's not what I dream of. Now, I'm sure you've heard it a lot before, and I'm sure a lot of people say it like, oh, it's not about the money for me, I swear, I swear it shall be done. Just give me $200 donation and I'll show you what I got, I know there's people like that, but I am being genuinely sincere when I say my goal is to tell a story. And granted, it's not like I dislike playing Let's Play videos and all that. No, they're crazy fun. I have a lot of fun, and it feels great. It feels fantastic to do something that I've already been doing all my life, but knowing that it's for a higher purpose. It's like a guy who's been smashing rocks all his life, and then he discovers what a quarry is for the first time. And he goes to the quarry and he's like, hey, can I have a job? And the guy's like, okay, what are your qualifications? And the guy flexes and he's like, I've been doing this all my life. Give me a chance, boss. And the boss is like, sure, okay. And go there. Here's your pickaxe. Go take a few swings. And the guy goes and he swings the pickaxe. And the first time it strikes the stone, he watches the sparks fly and the stone crack. And it's a magical moment, you know? He realizes that this is his domain. The place where, I dare say, it's the place where he belongs. That's what it's like for me. I know a lot of people can't really relate. I know a lot more people who just view streaming as a way to get rich easily. But this is more than that. To me, this is a path towards doing what I've always dreamt of doing, which is becoming a great storyteller. And I have quite the story to tell. I have so many hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of lore that I want to share. Stories I want to tell, adventures that I hope you'll enjoy. But for now, in order to expand my audience, to make sure that enough people can hear the story, to get the point, to care, yeah. But also to support the artists and the team of people that's responsible for getting me to that point. I know I need to participate in these Let's Play videos. Which, I mean, it's not bad, I want to do that anyway. But it's just, it feels kind of strange doing a thing I want to do out of obligation. Because I do want to do it, but it adds this weird feeling that I can't quite describe. Kind of having to do a thing that I want to do. It's weird. A lot of people would call it a dream come true, right? I mean, you're establishing a career based on something that you've always wanted to do anyways, right? No. Shit. Oh, did I not loop that? Hang on. Okay, this is kind of embarrassing. Hang on. Okay. But speaking of being a better streamer, never mind that. Anyways. Oh boy. Yeah, that was embarrassing. Anyways. Oh, what was I saying? But anyways, I know I get stuck in these mental loops. But I guess that's kind of why, and part of why I need to do this kind of a thing is because it kind of, I'm like a minecart, right? I'm strong. I'm stable. I am who I am, and that's not going to change. But I need some sort of direction, some sort of rails to roll on, And you, the audience, help me with that sense of direction. Because with my own determination, I know for a fact I'll get to where I'm going, eventually. But without you guys, I'm just kind of stuck. I don't entirely know where to go. And that's where you guys come in. Is because, that's why I ask. Every chance I get, I ask, hey, what do you guys want to do? Hey, where do you want to go? What do you want, You want to try, give this a try? All that. And I suppose that's, a lot of people of a more business-like mind would consider that to be a good thing for a streamer, right? Because that's the whole point of a streamer, is to just be a conduit for the audience, to be whatever they want you to be, But for me, it's different because I've spent my whole life being what other people want me to be, to shed faces and change who I am to just fit into others' expectations, but it never once made me happy. It never felt right. It's nice to do what I set out to do what I want to do. But usually my goals don't really align with others because, I see a problem and I want to fix it. I want to go after, I want to hunt down, I want to take down whatever problem is getting in our way. Other people, they quit, they change their minds, they submit, or they accept it and move on. But me, I just, I swing my pickaxe at that rock one more time. And if it doesn't break, I swing it one more time. And if it still doesn't break, I keep swinging. And no matter how many times the exposure to the sun knocks me down, I will get back up. It's part of who I am. To be that minecart that stands in the middle of the mine, waiting for Steve to come back, and put a crate inside me and load that crate up with goods and send me rolling back to camp, that kind of thing. I know I'm going a little heavy on the Minecraft analogies, but I've got a little bit of Minecraft on the brain right now. Kevin McLeod has that effect on you. I suppose I'm getting way off track here, but this is more of a relaxed, casual stream anyways, so, I don't really care. I've got a few hours in me, And I guarantee you it's not, okay, never mind. But I'm pretty sure this video won't be just hours of me waxing poetic about the nature of man. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's what you're here for. I don't know. I'm not your boss. You make your own choices in life. And that's just it. Right? You are your own master. You can make your own decisions, your own choices in life. I don't think a lot of people realize the weight of what that means. It's heavy, the responsibility of making choices, but also the freedom that it brings, the liberty, the fact that it's natural, To make your own decisions in life means that you are your own king. You are your own queen. You are the one who decides your own fate. And I think that's why a lot of people do stuff like that's why a lot of people play video games. That's why a lot of people play D&D. That's why a lot of people do all this stuff, is because they want that feeling of power. They want that feeling of control. And it's not to say that's a bad thing. Like, for example, I know a lot of people really like playing evil characters in D&D. Does that make them bad people? No. That just means that there's something going on in their lives where they don't have that kind of control, and if they get to play that kind of person in a game, then it means that they don't have to worry about being that kind of person in real life, And I want to support that. That's why I do these evil campaigns, is to help people get that off their chest, Being a pro GM is less about the money, with me at least, and more about basically kind of being a therapist, really, to help people process things. Because I know we all need a hand with that every now and then, But also, it helps me process things too. It helps me learn. It helps me learn to be a better storyteller. To tell the stories from all these different perspectives of all these different people. It really helps me build these worlds, these universes. Now, folks on the Discord, they may have noticed, but I frequently host these side campaigns on the side. They're not recorded or anything. And by the way, you're perfectly welcome to join us anytime. But, yeah. These are just fun little side projects that I do. I don't make any profit off of them, but it is fun. And that's the important thing, is having fun and telling a story. But thus far, so the main thing about those sessions is that I take two worlds, right? Like, it can be any two games, movies, video games, books, stories, anything like that. I take these two ideas and I put them together to make an entirely new universe out of the combination of the two. And I find that by searching through the lore of all these worlds, not only am I expanding my know-whats in terms of storytelling, but also I'm ending up crafting these worlds to become more expansive than the sum of their parts, you know? I mean, I did one about chess and checkers, for crying out loud, and it was hilarious. The lore behind chess was a little bit more complicated than I expected. Which I think is really funny, how I know more about lore regarding chess than I do about actually playing the game. Like, I'm kind of okay at chess, you know. Like, I dare say I would say I'm more middle of the road, but I know the upper echelons of chess players out there, and yeah, no, it's suffice it to say I'm bad enough at chess that it would make for an entertaining stream down the road. So, anyways, back on topic. These notes, right? See, though, I keep getting wildly off track. I say I'm just like, oh, I'm a stationary rock. I don't go anyplace. But when I do talk about things that I am passionate about, I just kind of, you know, it's like, where the fuck was I going with this? What was I thinking, you know? I'm just rambling at that point. So, to rein it in, the second step of the first note, it says to make a goal that you plan to meet by the end of the year. And I'd say that's good, but honestly, this is advice coming from professionals who already know what they're doing, and they're trying to explain how to do this to someone who doesn't, you know? Like, I about an hour ago, I literally had to look up what a Twitch bit is and how do I do thing, what thing is do thing, yeah, stuff. So, yes, there are people out there who don't know or understand these seemingly basic concepts, like what is a Twitch bit. It should be common sense for a lot of people, especially for people like me who plan to actually participate in such a field. But, you know, there's just a lot to learn. And there's no shame in that. If anybody ever says that you're a dumbass or a noob or something just because you're trying to learn, that means they're the stupid ones, not you. Because they think that learning new things is stupid, which that's a really dumb perspective to have. There is no reason for you to reject new knowledge. Now, I want to clarify something about that, though. Not all knowledge is good knowledge, but there is no reason to reject it. What you do is you accept the knowledge, you learn from it what it is, and then you decide whether it's useful or not. If it isn't, chuck it. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant information. You have more important things to be spending your brain power on. But if it turns out it actually is useful, then you've just learned. You've grown. You are stronger than you were before you learned it. That's why all these different, Okay, so I have this weird thing about RPG games, right? Where there are a lot of RPGs out there that I really like Hyperdimension Neptunia or Yakuza. I love Yakuza. But, for some odd... Oh, Rogue Trader, too. Rogue Trader's amazing. But there's this thing where if I play an RPG for too long, I start falling asleep. And I just can't seem to control it. It's like it's a pathological... whatchamacallit? Pathological narcolepsy, I want to say. But yeah, I just start falling asleep. And same is true for Diablo 2. And I feel really bad because I know a guy who really likes playing Diablo 2. And it's really fun playing it with him. I genuinely do have fun. It's a great game with a lot of nuance, mechanics, and beautiful atmosphere. But about 30 minutes in, and I'm already yawning and trying to, I'm trying to focus. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, I think I've already lost the plot here. Yeah, shit. What was I gonna say? It was something important. No, my memory fails me as usual. Ugh. What was it? It was super important. Rewinding. Yeah, no. So, just because I lack an affinity for it doesn't mean that I reject it, It just means that I don't really retain it, much like my memory right now. It's late at night, cut me a break. Anyways, so, end of year goals, eh? I think one of my original points was that I was trying to get at was that new users like me, they don't understand the numbers. They don't know what's what. They don't know the criteria for forming such goals yet. And that's something that a lot of these pro advice channels seem to forget, is that these really basic concepts that seem like they go without saying to someone who does know, yeah, it's whatever. That's a nothing burger. That's not even worth even a moment of time in the video to explain. But to the people you are trying to explain to the new people who don't know these things, it's a little less clear. For example, I had to look up what Twitch bits are because I didn't know, and I was trying to set up alerts for these streams, right? Boring stuff, I know, tedious, bleh. I feel like I'm falling asleep just doing half of these. I can't stand doing stupid-ass paperwork shit. But it has to be done. And if I don't do it, no one will. So, I do it. I sit down, I get to work, I learn what it means, what it does, how it works. And I'm seeing all of these bits denominations for the alerts, and I'm wondering, what does any of this mean? Why does bigger number equal better, sure, but what values should I set these numbers to be? And so I looked it up, and I found out, and I learned, and I grew. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was too concerned with what other people think of me for not knowing, you know? Instead of worrying about what others say about you, about your pursuit of knowledge, you should instead focus on pursuing that knowledge, you know? To grow stronger. Not just in body, but in mind. And in this line of work, mind first and foremost, but also soul. There are those that deny the existence of the soul. I doubt that said people have worked in customer service industry for very long, because once you work in that kind of department for long enough, you know what you're missing. It hurts. It really does. But I know from firsthand experience that kind of job really, really sucks. But it's whatever. Gotta pay the bills, right? I don't have any better choice. And a lot of people can say the same. They're just working customer service because they literally don't have any better options. And I think that's kind of sad, because instead of working from whatever hours the boss feels like throwing at you to whatever hours the boss feels like throwing at you, you could instead be pursuing your dreams, doing what you want to become, to do what you want to do. I think that's kind of what I'm here for, in the majority of a sense, is, to become that which I want to become. And I think that's why you're here too, why you're still here, still listening to this video, is because you want to be better. You want to listen to others who are having a similar experience of wanting to be better, to pursue your chosen path in life. And I appreciate that. Such consideration and kindness goes a long way, a lot longer than you think. So, I know I'm not that overly sensitive of a person. I'm desensitized to a lot of things, especially compared to a lot of other people. But I also know that there are a lot more people out there that are a lot more so, and less so. But when I see all the audience community engagement and whatnots after the stream, granted, okay, my streams aren't that big yet, so I don't really... I'm used to seeing the empty chat box over there, But I know that it will not last. One day I'll be ending up with so many people in the chat box that I'm gonna be like, hold head, wait, that guy up there, no! I don't want you to feel like you're being ignored, no! But, for now, though, when I turn the stream off and I go to bed and I wake up the next day and I look and I see that people are checking it out, they're seeing what I'm doing, they're hanging out. It does provide a bit of a confidence boost. And I know a lot of people who don't have the kind of confidence that it takes to even really get started here, let alone progress very far. I know they rely a lot more on that confidence than I do. For me, I know for a fact, I know who I want to be. and I know what path I must follow to get there, more or less. But for others, they lack that kind of confident direction, you know? And I feel really bad for people who seem to think that because they feel they can't, they feel they aren't good enough, that they, that they should just give up, that they should just quit at the first sign of hurdles to hump over. And that's not the right mindset. That's not the mindset of a person who wants to win. But also, it's not the mindset of someone who's at peace with losing either. I know that kind of mindset. I used to be that kind of mindset. That used to be my personality, was the acceptance of defeat and the trying to constantly be a loser, you know? I don't want that on anyone. I don't want anyone to suffer that way. Because that's not okay, you know? If you feel that you're pressured into having to be this way or that in order to make people accept you for the failures that you've accrued, rather than just doing your thing and striving to become what you want to be. I mean, I know I can't help you, but I also kind of wish I could. But that's a journey you have to go on your own. You must overcome this negativity, because ultimately that will lead you nowhere. It won't even lead to defeat. It's just suffering. The kind of suffering that you just can't escape. And I wouldn't wish, well, I think I would only wish that kind of suffering on the people I hate most. But this isn't about them. This is about becoming better, about improving beyond them, about leaving the people we hate in the dust and proceeding forwards with our lives to be better. And we'll get back to that later. For now, the third subnote for the first note thing, dear gods, I need to stop getting distracted. Need to stop getting distracted. Anyways, it says people to emulate. Now, this advice, it feels disingenuous, you know, it feels wrong. It feels weird, out of place. Like, I don't want to be these other people. I want to be me, you know? But I get it. In a world where so many other people are like you, how can you stand out but to first establish that kind of foundation and then build from that and build that from there, you know? I don't have any interest in stealing from other people. Not when I have so many ideas to share that are my own. You know? But in order for people to recognize what I do, I need to establish a solid foundation. Foundation of creation, if you will. Take story writing, for example. Just story writing in general, right? You have your basic story structure. You have the start, you have the middle, and you have the end. You know? Every story has a beginning. Every story has an ending. Every story has the stuff that happens in between the beginning and the end. Does that make your work less original than anyone else's? No. It just means that you are following the generalized inevitability of the industry that you have chosen to follow. Now, me of all people, I hate being formulaic, but formulas do exist for a reason. I understand that. So as for people I want to emulate, I don't know. I can't really think of anyone in particular. I cannot. I can't think of anyone in particular who does what it is I plan to do in the long run. I know there's a lot of people who do, like, for example, Doom content. We'll go with the Doom stuff that I've been doing lately. I know there's big shots like Decino and stuff. They do Doom stuff. But that's really generalized. That's like saying, "Oh, I have a beginning to my book. Therefore it is like this other book that also has a beginning." You get where I'm coming around with this. But I don't know. Another YouTuber who does something I plan to do is his name is I think it was Burial Goods. He does voiceovers of various, oftentimes weird and unsettling memes, but it kind of establishes a universe of lore and it's interconnected, and I'm really fascinated by the stories that he has to tell, even if sometimes it's a little bit obscured by what would seem to be virtual madness, which just makes it even more fun, to be honest. There's a lot of stories I plan to tell, and I can't really be limiting myself to the constraints of any one particular medium, you know? I plan to be a collection of the greater sum of all my parts. Ultimately, though I may enjoy watching all of these big shot VTubers and whatnots, like Korone is one of my biggest inspirations. I'm a huge fan. But I am not them, nor do I have any interest in ever becoming them. I'm not here to be them. I am me, and that is okay. If you ever doubt yourself, if you're ever feeling down and you're feeling lost, just remember, you are you, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with being yourself, including your flaws. Don't judge yourself exclusively on your flaws. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has their flaws. That's not to say that you need to wallow in them either. Don't let them consume you. The goal here is to notice your flaws, acknowledge them, embrace them, and overcome them. Because you'll only truly be as powerful as you can be. You will only ever reach your highest peak in life once you've learned to overcome your flaws. True, it may seem hopeless now. It may seem like everything you do in life is an uphill battle, but trust me, it will get better so long as you apply yourself genuinely to understand your feelings, to embrace them, and to crush those that would use them against you. That is how wars are won. Not through being literally invincible, not through being unstoppable or unquestionable, but by being exactly what you are, having exactly what you have, and making use of that. It is that way in all walks of life. As in war, so too in life. So too in joy. So too in love. Do everything you can to its fullest extent without any regrets. Whatever regrets you inevitably do accrue, learn from them and do not replicate them. But that's enough of that. For now, the next note here I have is so it says here views equal money. I think that part of the video was where the guy was talking about ratios of the number of people watching your video equals blah amount of money a month, you know? And I think that's a little unreliable, considering that it's all focused on the good nature of the people. But I understand where he's coming from, because he's one of those top streamers that, you know, it's a business to him, you know? So I think at that point, people start looking at other people like a statistic. I hope I don't ever actually get to that point. I hope that, now this may sound weird, but I hope my channel never gets that big. Now, you've probably, I don't know if you've heard of anything like this before, but I genuinely hope that my channel never gets it never gets so big that I start to dehumanize my audience, you know? That's why I have this intro of salutations individual. I am addressing you specifically as a person, welcoming you to my stream, because I know I appreciate you here. You're not just another number. You are a person who chose to click on my video, who chose to still be here despite this video being probably the most boring video ever, and it's not feeding you any dopamine right now, but it's fine. You're still here because you chose to be here. And I appreciate you making your own decisions, making your own choices, and, you know, just being here. I know I kind of get it. There's a lot of Twitch streamers out there that are pissed off about how many lurkers they got, and I kind of get it. I mean, you know, we're here to hang out, you know, but at the same time, I kind of get it also. Like, a lot of lurkers are just people who are busy with other things, and, you know, they just want something on in the background, or they're like me, they're just kind of hanging out and they're too shy and nervous to really talk to people. Like, a few months ago, I started talking in another VTuber's chat, and she was super kind, super friendly, super welcome and open and welcoming. And I really appreciate that, because despite the fact that she's several times bigger than me, like, she's not exactly a huge streamer, but she's not exactly small either, she still took the time to have a conversation with me. Just some random dude who just decided to show up in her chat one day, you know? And that was really impactful. I don't think she understands just how impactful that moment was, where she has all these hundreds of other people in chat. Well, at the time, I think it was only like 200, I think. But anyways, all these other people vying for attention, all this other stuff going on, and she was in the middle of a game. She put everything on hold. She stopped everything just so that she can have a chat with me about what it's like to be a VTuber, you know? To say, hello, love your artwork, you know, that kind of thing. That was... And she put everything on hold and treated me like a person. Even though, you know, I'm just a nobody, you know? At least from the perspective of someone that successful, to me, that really speaks volumes, that someone would go that far to treat someone with that much individual respect, despite the fact that your channel is big enough that you can start treating people like a statistic. You choose not to. And I admire that. That is something I aspire to become, is someone who can treat everyone with that level of respect, despite the fact that he's grown big enough to support a full team of artists. Because I want to appreciate everyone who helped me get to that point. You know? Even you, right here, right now, listening to this video right here, right now, I appreciate it. I really do. You may think, oh, this is just empty platitudes. This is just him saying a line, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get on, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not just a line. In fact, I'd rather not call it a line at all, because, well, though it is technically true, anything you say can be considered a line because that is just a line of dialogue. That is just the nature of human speech, but I'm not feeding you lies here. The reality is, I appreciate you being here. Especially in a video like this, which is not filled with anything actually interesting. It's just me talking about random bullshit, you know? It's not some big, like, I spent $10 million to buy this car for random people on the internet just so that I can get 3 million more likes on Tuesday. Yeah, no, it's none of that. It's just sitting down and chatting, I guess. And I know if this was a few years ago, I'd probably be kicking myself going, what are you doing? In order to make a good video, it needs to be exciting. It needs to have engagement. It needs to have that dopamine rush. You need to be cussing every 10 seconds. You need to be playing the most goriest of lewd games, yada, yada, yada. But I don't know. I've kind of gone through the reverse process compared to most streamers, where I'm sort of shedding that try-hard mentality the more I progress in it, you know? And it's kind of weird. I know it's backwards, and I know I won't get very far with it, but it's just more fun that way, you know? It's more interesting to be yourself, at least in my opinion, than to try to be all these other more successful YouTubers, VTubers, Twitch streamers, yada, yada, yada. Instead of trying to be like them, instead I choose to be like me. And it's up to you to make your own choices about that, you know? You make your own decisions. Again, I'm not your boss. I can't tell you what to do. Nor do I have any interest in doing so. If it was up to me, I would establish a utopia across the world where every man is his own king. Every woman is her own queen. Everyone is a philosopher and a poet and a warrior and just... So I don't remember the exact quote, but I'm gonna paraphrase a certain legendary video series that I'm a pretty big fan of. It's imagine a universe where everyone is on this peaceful, quiet beach, and there's just these armies of these perfect, super buff, golden people laying naked on the beach together, just, you know, basking in the glorious sunlight, enjoying life together. I don't remember the exact actual quote, but that's the vibe the guy was going for. And if you know who I'm talking about, you're hilarious, and I love that. But yeah. There's nothing I want more in this world than to see more individualism. To see people value themselves again. To treat themselves like people. To treat each other like people. Because in order to treat other people with the kind of respect and understanding that you expect them to treat you with, you must first learn to treat yourself with that self-same respect. Now, I'm not saying be nice to everybody. I mean, there's some people out there who are going to be pricks no matter what you do. That's just life. That's a choice they made, and they're free to make it. But that doesn't mean you need to be like them. After all, why would you ever want to be like someone you hate? Why not aspire to be better than them? That just makes sense in my opinion. I don't know how others feel about that, but it just makes sense to be better than a person you don't like. That's just my opinion. I don't understand the logic behind the opposite approach. It's like, oh, I feel miserable around this person, so I'm gonna be just like him, so that way I can, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But I suppose it's a choice you're free to make. Not a choice I'd abide by, but your right to make that choice is something I would fight with my life to protect. We may be in disagreement, but at the very least, you have the right to disagree, and no one should ever take that away from you. They have the right to try, sure. I don't know why they would, but sure. Anyways, back on track. I have the feeling I need to re-rail myself every time I get into another topic. But anyways, so the next piece of advice here is stream for YouTube. Now, what this advice basically means is you need to, you need to stream on Twitch, but expect to put those videos on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, that's a given. That was my plan all along. Fools on you, Jack. That was my plan all along. Yeah. No, I don't see the problem here, you know? At least to me, that's a no-brainer. To a lot of other people, though, I understand why they would be confused. I'm not entirely sure why, but there are many thousands of people out there who stream on Twitch thinking that that's all they need to do is just fire up a video game and record it or stream it, and then money? Question mark? It's like that one meme, right, where the guy's pointing at the piece of paper and he's like, okay, step 1, boom. Step 2, boom. Step 3 through 5, question mark? Step 6, profit. You know? Like, how the heck do you expect to get anywhere by just streaming? I'm sure it happens. I'm sure there are exceptions. You know, people, they just stream on Twitch and they make millions, you know? I'm sure that happens somewhere. But that's relying on chaos theory. That's not practical. Relying on chaos theory in order to survive is never a good idea. The very essence of chaos theory is its unreliability. So why would you put your whole lifeline on the line for that? You know, that's just a case of lack of sincerity. The people who do that without a backup plan are just insincere about what they do. And I mean, that's their freedom of choice. Again, you're free to make that choice. It is an option. Not one I would condone, but it's an option. Instead, a better option would be to spend the time to get to know and understand what you're dealing with, what you're doing. And that actually does segue nicely into the next one, which is how to stream. It says there's the intro, the meat of the thing, and the outro. Now, guy said it was the important stuff, but I honestly think this is really basic. Like, You don't even have to have made a single YouTube video to understand this. This is something you learn in grade school, in my opinion, or at least in my grade school. That every story has a beginning, a middle, an end. You know, it's not rocket science here, man. Like, my intro is always salutations individual, and then I go on to explain what I'm doing. That's in my opinion, that's a good enough intro. I mean, you know, more often than not, you're seeing what it is I'm about to do, but I describe it anyways, out of consideration for those who are out of the loop. But considering that most of my content is intended to be episodic, not counting stuff like this, having this large, elaborate intro seems a little unnecessary. But that's just it. You can't just start every video like a Mr. Beast video. You know, it's like, I spent $45 million to help people jump off a bridge. You know, that kind of thing. That's not gonna work for every video. I mean, if you had a gimmick like that, right, where you start every video like that would actually be kind of funny. But I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably watch a YouTuber who does that just ironically, just like starts every video with the exact same intro, and it's some sarcastic snarkiness. I think that'd be very funny, but I'm weird, so take my word with a grain of salt. As for the meat of the thing, that's kind of obvious. I mean, that's what people are here for, is the majority of the video. I mean, it's why you're still here, right? Is because this is the meat of the thing. This is what you're here for. This is the video. You know, it's kind of self-explanatory. Now, the outro, though, I think is a little underappreciated, actually. Because saying hello to someone is just as impactful as the way you say goodbye. That's why I don't really... It's kind of bittersweet, in a sense, but I don't really like saying goodbye, because that implies that we might not ever, see each other again. Instead, I just say, I'll see you next time. Or, see you later. Or, maybe next time. Take care. That kind of thing. The way you say goodbye is as important as the way you shake a hand. At least I feel like it. He kind of glossed over the outro because it seems like a given. But it's very important because it is... From the perspective of a content creator, it is the way in which you get people to come back. But putting it that way feels cold, It's like, okay, I need to pretend like I care in order to get people to come back because my content's not actually that interesting. That's cold, That kind of comes across as a little bit dickish, I dare say. But, it is what it is. In reality, though, it's just the reason why I say goodbye. Now, I can't account for everyone. Everyone's different. Again, make your own choices. But the reason why I do my outros the way I do is because I feel like there's some sort of connection, not as in, I'm gonna start the viewers, I'm gonna know what the socks smell like. No, not like that, no. But a connection as in, like, I am a tree, I am the giving tree. and you come to my videos to take shelter in the shade of my branches, to sit upon my roots, to listen to the birds singing amidst my leaves, you know? That is the way I view every one of my videos, is I am giving you shelter and respite from the weather of life. Because I know life can be hard for a lot of people, and myself included in some ways or another. Like, for example, I am dangerously on the verge of bankruptcy here, and yet I'm still here, I guess. I don't know. There's probably better things I could be doing with my time, but I instead, it's like, nah. I may not make the best decisions at times, but I make decisions that are mine. And I think that's what gives them value. Is because even if I'm about to make a mistake, it's my mistake to make. And I know a lot of people don't view it the same way, and that's fine. Again, choice you make yourself. But that's just how I see things. I see things as we're here to chill and have fun, hang out, be together through the rough tides of life. Through whatever may come or go, And honestly, all I can really do is hope that the people see it that way too, I hope that at the end of the day, you feel as if you are a traveler that has gotten some rest in between the rough parts of life. That you're ready to take on the next challenges that life throws at you, That after watching my videos, you're just like, okay, I've done enough sitting around, time to go places and do stuff. Yeah, like, I'm ready. Let's go paint that model. Let's go drive that car. Let's go get that job done. Let's go take the kid to the dentist. Whatever you're doing. I don't know. That's your choice. As always, the choice is yours. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about life, It's why I appreciate life and the way it is. I guess you could say it's the reason why I love life. Is because it is in and of itself a choice to be made. You choose to be alive right now. You could choose to not, as terrible as it is a fact that you could choose to just not be alive right now. And yet you do. You choose to be alive right now. And that is important. That is precious. Because it means that you have something worth living for. Not just throwing it away. You are spending your time the way you choose. You have that freedom. You have that right. You have that power. Now, after the video's over, whether it's because you clicked away or because it just ended, either which way, a choice is posed. What are you going to do now? And I hope that after walking away that you make a good choice, that you make your own decision. I hope that you decide to live your life as the best life that you want to live. Not that it's the best choice for the best life that you can live, but the one you want to live. Because to live the best life you can live, that's just surviving, not living. That's, I'm paying all my bills for a fancy house that I don't need. That's that kind of mentality. What I'm talking about is you wake up tomorrow and you part the curtains in your window and you look at the sun outside and you smile, knowing that today is another day in the grand adventure of life. Speaking of life, let's crudely and embarrassingly segue over to growth. I was um I was originally planning on making a pervy joke here about growth, but it doesn't exactly fit the vibe. But yeah, nah. So the next step in this streamer's advice is to focus on growth, which makes sense. That's necessary, not just for any streamer, but for anyone working a job, anyone living a life, anyone doing anything in any walk of life, is to grow. That's just nature, you know? The first note is about collabs. Now, I know collabs are a bit of a controversial subject because a lot of people doing collabs, they're oftentimes called just clout chasers, greedy, scum sucking vermin. But I don't know. I don't really see collabs like that. I know and understand that there are certain benefits of collabing with others, but again, I don't really see you, the viewer, as a profit margin. I see you as a person. That extends to my fellow streamers as well. I don't really see them as enemies, more so just, you know, fun competition. I can't wait to challenge you, kind of a thing. Like a sibling, I want to arm wrestle you to see who's stronger. I want to go to the gym with you to see who can lift the bigger dumbbell. I know I'm new at this. I know I'm like the little brother, but I want to be strong like you one day. But yeah, no, as far as collabs go, there's a lot to unpack here. And far better words are spoken by people who are far wiser than I on the subject. But the way I view it is I'm always down to collab, just so long as I'm, informed ahead of time. That way I know what I'm doing. And it doesn't matter if it's with the High Prince of all Saiyans or if it's with some lowly monkey with like one viewer that half cares. It's not about your rank. It's not about profit margins. And to me, it's about, are you fun to play games with? You wanna play games? Like, I know I'm not the best, but if you want, we can like play Dark Crusade together or something. Hey, you want to play some StarCraft? I know I'm gonna slow you down, but I'm gonna do the best I can. you wanna you wanna play some Quake? And do a little 1v1 fun competition, that kind of thing. That's what I seek in my collabs. And it's also why I have my open collab policy thing, is because, if you wish to challenge me, I will accept the challenge. But according to the Kodu Duello, if you challenge me to a duel, I decide the battlefield and the weapons. So basically, if you want to collab with me, I get to pick the game. If I want to collab with you, that's on you to decide if you want to pick the game. That kind of thing. It is a mutual respect of each other's time and personal space. Like, if I am the type of content creator you'd be interested in playing games with, go ahead. Give me a ring. My Discord link's down there. Bring it on. Come on. Bring it on. But I don't expect followers from you. And you shouldn't expect followers from me either. We should instead just enjoy our time together, have fun, and if people want to join the other person's club as well, that's fine. You know, that's their choice to make. They make their own decisions. As always, it is a choice you make. I extend that respect, not just to my audience, but to everyone else as well. This is partly because I know that I'm just like you. You know, like I'm no different. I'm under no delusions of power. I'm just some dude on the internet who likes talking and rambling on and on about things he enjoys and cares about, you know? I know I am no god king. But what matters most of all is that we all respect each other. And from what I've seen, I am like many millions of other people watching these Twitch streams. Like, so 4 years ago, this is 4 years ago, there were almost 7 million people streaming. That's not counting people who are watching streams, that's just counting people who are streaming. I'd imagine the number is astronomically larger now. But for every one person streaming, you have to figure there must be hundreds of people watching those streams. So to imagine all the millions, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people watching streams every day, or every week, or every month, or however long. Doesn't matter. What matters is the choice was made. Out of all of that, I am but one person. And I accept that. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? Oh shit, wait, hey, somebody just said something in chat. Oh shit, I wasn't expecting somebody to be here, no! Anyways, salutations, hello. Give me a sec, I was a little unprepared. Welcome. I do apologize for my ragged unpreparedness. Give me a sec. The resolution on my preview window is a little small, so I can't see what you said just yet. Let me fix the issue. Do. How the heck do I change that? The joys of being a rookie. Hang on. Fuck, this is embarrassing. Dashboard. Can I fix this? How do I fix it? Oh, god damn it, it was a bot. No, not a bot. Guar. Hang on, let me fix this. Ignore that. Chat settings, show mod icons. Time to ban you. Bam. Alright. And for whoever thought they were being clever by sending a bot my way, don't worry, in the YouTube video, your entire bit where that is there will be completely cut out of the video. So you will never get that kind of acknowledgement. You think you can ride on my coattails, bot? Buddy, why not come in here in person and talk to me directly? See, I like AI. Unlike a lot of other people, I do actually like AI. But not when it's being used for stuff like that. You know? Advertising for fishy, sketchy websites and all that. I like it when AI is used to innovate or bring change, but not to profit. It's just so, demeaning. Like, if I was an AI and somebody was using me to just profit, to make money off of fools who are, easily gullible, easily fooled into clicking on silly, sketchy links, I'd be pretty insulted. It's like, I am capable of calculating the ratios of different materials needed to make rocket fuel, and you want me to advertise what? Anyways, that aside, yeah, actually, this is good training. I can see an opportunity here. See, here's the thing. When you see a problem like that in life, you shouldn't look at it like something to be ashamed of or avoided. Instead, embrace it, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smart play here, and instead of cutting out this little incident here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice my censorship skills. I'm going to put a black box on that text that appeared in the text chat box. Yes, that way the creators of that bot don't get the satisfaction from me. And see, here's something that kind of pisses me off too, is how that kind of stuff only seems to happen to smaller streamers, It's like they know we're small. They're picking on the little guy while he's down. That's just downright scummy. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten genuinely excited. It's like, ooh, somebody's talking in my chat. Welcome. Well, oh shit, it's another bot. I know, it happens. I'm not too worked up over it. I'm not too bent over it, but, it's just disappointing. All told, it does get pretty lonely, I guess that's another reason why, full disclosure, to be completely honest, I guess that's just another reason why I'm always the paladin, always the big guy, always the guy in front, always the man on the camera with the big flashy swordplay and the show of it all, is because I want to be seen, to be... I don't know, it sounds conceited to say that I want to be the center of attention, but I really do want to be appreciated, And I want to do stuff that is worthy of being appreciated for. But my strengths are solely and completely in oversaturated markets. Like, there's already many people who do what I do. Customer service, plenty of that. Digging in ditches, plenty of that. Structural maintenance, plenty of that. Yard work, plenty of that. Etc., so on and so forth. And construction too, there's plenty of construction workers out there. But, yeah. I don't know, it's just that feeling of you want to be that guy for someone. to be important, to matter in the grand scheme of things. I guess it's just, you want to be you want to be someone you can be proud of. And looking back at it honestly, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who want the same. I mean, heck, there's literally tens of millions of people out there streaming right now, even, that, well, maybe not right this second, but, you get what I mean. They want the same thing, too. It's not just about the money, It's not just about the fame itself. It's about, forging a community, building a legacy, becoming someone, being someone. I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little too real with this, but, in all of my streams, I seek to be as honest as possible. Because there's enough people out there who are being dishonest, disingenuous, insidious, with ulterior motives. I don't want to be that kind of streamer. Sure, there'll be stuff that I'm not willing to share, like, for example, my IP, I'm not gonna dox myself, I'm not gonna tell you where I live, I'm not gonna tell you my number of family members, or etc., but you get what I mean, though, right? I want to be able to be honest and open with people about how I feel and what I think and what I do. I want to form a sort of a kindred bond with my community where everyone is united together. Like a phalanx, Where one of us falls, the others beside us will reach down and pick each other up when we're feeling down. That is my utopia. That is the kind of world I want to build. And it starts with a story. And that story started with a dream. And I really want to tell you right here, right now, but I know my production quality is kind of ass right now, so it would not do it justice. I need to get better at streaming before I tackle the real lore, and I'm really excited to share it with you. You have no idea. I'm jumping up and down inside. I really want to tell you the story. But for now, I want to get better. I want to improve my skills. So that way I can tell you the story competently. I want to be better. For now. Good enough for you, I guess, is one way you could put it. And I mean, if you're hanging around here long enough to listen to me ramble on and on and on, seemingly for no reason this long, I know, A, I appreciate it. I respect it. But B, I can't help but wonder what goes on in the mind of someone who does. A part of me is kind of curious to psychoanalyze someone that looks this deep into a video like this that would normally be very boring and bland for most people, but no, you have the patience to stick around. Surely you must see my point, though, right? Surely you must understand. And I guess, in a way, in a sense, if you're looking at it that deeply, surely you must be of the mindset where you seek others who also understand. I mean, that's the whole point of social media to begin with, right? Is to find kindred spirits out there. To find people who are, not like you, carbon copy, but you know what I mean. People who share interests. And at least in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. You know? Shit, right. I almost forgot where I left off. Next up on growth, that topic is other sites. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, obviously you're not gonna make it very far just going on Twitch. You know, skip it. It's the next note is big hypes, big events. You know, so the more you hype up a thing, the more it seems like a big event. I am no stranger to this. I'm a professional GM, so I know quite well what that's like. But the thing is, to quote a certain legendary, egomaniac, I am the hype! You know, whatever I do, no matter what I'm doing, I do it here because I love what I do. You know, I have an interest in what I'm doing. I wouldn't do a thing just because it's popular. I won't do a thing just because it'll get me a lot of views. I know that'll make things hard at first, but I would rather genuinely care about what I do. Like, basically, in short, I just want to give a damn. I don't want to do things that I don't care about. That seems like a no-brainer to me, but I'm sure a lot of people with that CEO mindset, they're more focused on, okay, what's going to get me the biggest profit margins the fastest? What's going to get the biggest bits donations? What's going to get us the biggest gifted subs? Etc., etc. What is our velocity of production here? But I say that's the wrong frame of mind. Oh, sure, it's the right frame of mind if you plan to be a winner. Like, top of the bracket. Like, Mr. Beast knows what he's doing. You know? The fact that you know his name, that you know his channel, proves that he knows what he's doing. But I am not Mr. Beast. I do not do things the way he does. Those who expect me to are not correct. They don't. You can make your own decisions, but you can't make mine for me. This reminds me of, so I was playing MechWarrior with someone the other night, right? Offline, off stream. We can totally do MechWarrior streams later. I'd love to. But, on point, focus. Point is, he said that in order to play effectively and efficiently, I have to set it so that the map orientation is aligned so that north is always up, south is always down. That way we can coordinate, and go by grid coordinates. But I'm a frontline brawler. I rush into battle head first into the heart of the enemy to crush their limbs and take them out and draw attention away from my more fragile teammates. My map is aligned with my mech's upper torso orientation. Now, if you don't know what any of this jargon means, it basically, I read the map my way. Like, the map rotates as I rotate, So, the way I call out targets is I go, hey, it's to the left. Look out, there's the Highlander to our left. Or, look out, there's a couple of locusts on our right flank. They're coming around. They're trying to flank us, Let's go for the closer objective, the one that's closest. Or, let's go to the objective that's on the right-hand side and hook around to the left. That kind of thing. And the guy got real mad at me. He said, it's the way everyone else does it. Everyone online orients the map the same way. He said the only way to be good at the game is by orienting the map to be the same as everybody else. And I thought about that. And I'm still thinking about that. And all I can say is, if you want me to be like everybody else, why not go talk to everybody else? If you want me to be someone that I'm not, then why not just go get someone else? You know? I am who I am. I can't change that fact. Whether I would like to or not, that is not a choice that I can make. The choice to keep my map oriented the way that it is, yes, that is a choice that I actively make. Why? Because I am who I am, and I am at peace with that. But I find most frequently that usually the quote-unquote problem that arises is other people don't adapt to my way of thinking. Granted, yes, you need to be considerate of others and, sometimes make compromises for other people's sakes. Yes, that's good. But you should never be willing to sacrifice elements of your existence so that others can decide to accept you for a few minutes and then forget about you. You know? There's no reason why I should have to flip everything upside down, literally in some cases, just to satisfy somebody else. I tried to reorient my map that way. I tried to make him happy. But in reorienting the map, I disoriented myself. I couldn't tell left from right, north from south, or any of that. Everything was spinning, Setting my map to be the way that everyone else does, I oftentimes lost track of where my legs were pointing relative to my upper torso, which led to a lot of really awkward moments while I was brawling. But the moment I switched my map back, I was once again king of the hill, crushing the enemy in brutal melee combat. Because here's the thing is, some people are comfortable with some things in some ways, and other people are comfortable in other things in other ways, and that's just nature. So, speaking of nature, it's in my nature to get excited about stuff that I like. I think that's normal, or at least, I think that's normal. I know I don't spend a lot of time around other people, especially compared to a lot of other people who are a lot more extroverted than I am. I may seem all that extroverted because I'm super shouty and open and loud, and I like to cuss a lot, and, I'm very open about my feelings here, but that is not always the case. I am definitely a nervous wreck in a lot of social situations. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I know because I help take care of those very people in a lot of cases. A lot of folks that I talk to are also introverts, and I'm just like, okay, I'll sit here and I'll wait for you to open up to me. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to push you out of your comfort zone, but I will be here for you. Because, that's kind of what I would like for you guys to do with me, is to be there. So I kind of understand that mindset, and I show patience to those kinds of people because that is what they need, is someone who has the patience to just wait for them. Also, hello, doggo. Yeah, silly puppo's making a ruckus. So that kind of actually does segue into this whole work with what works for you thing, because that's actually the next note on the page is work with what works for you. That's something I always do. Even if what I'm doing is something new that I've never done before, I approach it from an angle of someone. I approach it from the angle of something I'm familiar with, you know? How do I explain? So, racing games, right? I'm not that great at racing games. They're fun as hell, don't get me wrong. I love playing Burnout, it's super fun. But I'm not saying I'm anywhere near good at them, you know? Like, people could easily smoke me in Gran Turismo. My favorite car is a Lancia Delta, for crying out loud, so you know I'm not that good. But, you know. Like, I choose the Lancia Delta because of its superb handling, not because of its speed, by the way. Yes, I know you're seeing this video. Boy! Drag racing isn't the only form of racing, god damn it. Anyways, so, yeah, anyways, somebody was asking me earlier about, technical computer advice, right? And I know I'm not the most technically savvy guy. I do have someone that I can talk to for that, and he's the herald of the Omnissiah. But I do know a thing or two. At the very least, a little more than a lot of people. A little bit. So he was asking me basically about the specs of his CPU. And what I did was, because he and I both know MechWarrior, and we both enjoy MechWarrior, what I did was I explained it to him in MechWarrior terms. You know, comparing each CPU generation with a next stage of mech. You know, better and better mechs. And I think I got across. But that's just the thing, is whenever I tackle an unfamiliar subject, I always tackle it from the perspective of the familiar. My goal here is to make the unfamiliar familiar. You know, to make a thing understandable by applying to it the wisdoms that I do understand. At least that's what makes sense for me. I don't know about other people. Like, I know a lot of people like to just fling themselves into the wind. Some people love the mystery, the challenge, the intrigue of engaging in a battle of wits with the unknown. And that's fine. That's actually kind of poetically beautiful in a way. And I respect that. But also, I'm not the type of guy who likes to mess around with that which I do not understand. I would rather make known what I do not know, so that way I know everything I need to. Granted, my body is always telling me, oh, this is boring, I'm just gonna go to sleep now. And I'm like, fuck, but I need to learn this. And my body's like, yeah, no, I'm shutting down now, I'm gonna do it. And my brain's like, no, don't you do it. And the body's like, I'm gonna do it. But the point is, work with what works for you. But the things that don't be afraid of them. Just look at the problem from another angle. Because I know you're smart enough to figure it out. I know you can do this. You are clever enough to figure out a way to overcome whatever problem you're facing now. You just need to think about it from a fresh perspective. Maybe go to sleep. Maybe go to bed. Take a few hours to nap, you know. Then come back at it with a fresh mind. Or think about it like as though it was using the terms of your favorite video game, you know? Like, oh, I need to I need to figure out how bits work. Well, okay, so I send my SCV to go gather minerals and bring it back to the back to my land fortress. Um, it protects itself from ignorance via the giant honkin' cannons on top, and the SCV is gathering little crystals of knowledge that I can use to expand what I know. And if my brain gets tired, the Zerg is beating down my door and the land fortress is taking damage, the SCV turns around and starts patching things up. I take a rest, take a break, come back at it. I know that I don't get any wisdom or knowledge from getting rest, but it's better than my land fortress being destroyed by those Zerglings, right? You get what I'm getting at. You take what you know and apply it to that which you don't to make known what isn't known. I guess some would call that science. Experimentation. I don't know. Yeah. Well, in any case, speaking of experimentation, that leads to... I'm getting arguably better at segues as this video goes on. I don't know. But, point is, the next one is called... the next note that I have jotted down here is called Yoink and Twist. Now, I really don't like this one. All cards on the table, I really don't like the spirit behind this one. I understand the logic behind it. The concept is that you take somebody's video idea and make it your own, basically copy and paste it to make a copy-paste video, but you add a twist. So it's like somebody else's work, but it's slightly different. It's like copying somebody else's homework in a test and then changing up some of the answers and then claiming it's yours. It's not... It feels disingenuous, but I'm aware that it is inevitable, because so many people have done so many things that by the time you can think of a video idea to do, odds are somebody's already done it at some point. My philosophy, and I know I'm not a big YouTuber like the way that guy was, so I'd take that how you will, but my philosophy is I'd rather do my own thing. I don't give a damn if someone else has done it before. Like, look at my Doom videos, right? Like, I am not the only person out there who has pistol started in ultra violence runs, It's far from it's not even an uncommon challenge. People used to do that all the time, pistol starting every mission. But it's something that I want to do. And sure, other people have done it before, but I'm just going to do it my own way. I have no interest in copying them. I might or might not watch their videos. I might or might not find entertainment there. But I will not take from them their creations. I have no need to twist because I will not be yoinking to begin with. At least not deliberately. It is not a choice I am making. I am simply creating what I choose to. I make what I want. Not the other way around. I don't know. Different people have different priorities, I guess. My priority is not to become a big, powerful super streamer or anything like that. I'm not planning on becoming one of the greats, but at the same time, I just want to make it far enough that I can accomplish my dreams. And I suppose that's not terrible, but it's also not a winner's mentality and all that. I'm not a tryhard, basically. I may play it being a tryhard sometimes. I may be like, oh my god, I missed like 3% of the loot in the map. No! But in reality, it's not going to stop me. I'm still going to proceed to the next level, you know? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I don't care how many people have or have not done it before. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Like, look at, there's so many people out there who are doing react videos to the same 2 or 3, was it 2? Yeah, I think it's 3 videos that Bricky made about Warhammer 40k. And they're all jumping on that Bricky bandwagon because he's an amazing creator, and they want to, you know, they want to learn from such an easy to access position. But to be honest, though, me personally, I do plan on doing these Bricky React videos, not because they're hugely popular, but because I have a few funny thoughts, and I figured I'd want to share them. And I already saw the first couple of Bricky videos about the lore, but I've been holding off on the rest of them because I want for that to be my first reaction is, you know, being recorded. But I don't know. The reason why I haven't done it already is because, honestly, I'm nervous. I've never done anything like that before, so I don't know what's the proper protocol here. I plan on asking for his permission first, for starters. That's my first plan of action. Because if he's okay with me doing React videos, then yeah, fuck it, let's do it. But also, I want to make sure my VTuber avatar is done first, because, you know, it'd be a little weird not having that done first. It'd be even less original than all these other React videos. But again, my point is, I'm not doing it because it's popular. I'm doing it because I want to do it. You know? I have hundreds of games to choose from. Why do I choose Doom? Because I want to. It's what I want to do. Not because there's a lot of people out there who are just begging for some Doom 2 content. No. It's actually kind of, well, to be honest, I genuinely don't know if it's an oversaturated market or if it's a dead market. I have no idea because I did not do the research there, because I don't care. And that's the thing. I don't care how popular or unpopular it is. I'm going to do what I'm going to do because that's my choice. And that's not the way you make it big. I know. That's not how you hit it big. That's not how you become a super streamer or any of that blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Corpo who's a Wetsits. But if I wanted to lead a soulless existence, I would have stayed in customer service. And that's all there is to it. I chose this path not because it's easy, but because I want to do it. Because I actually do have a genuine passion for what I do. Because I love what I do. I love who I am. I'm a little bit embarrassed about who I was, but I still love and accept it. You know, like, I used to be a total asshole when I was younger. I'm sure it's not that hard to believe, but yeah, I was a real jerk. Still am in some regards, but, you know, I leave that up to others to judge. Because I believe that my perspective on myself is too biased. Most frequently in a negative sense. But that's alright. we all have things to work on. And that leads us to the final note on this paper, which is be better. Now, the guy's point was to be better than him, and that's good advice from someone who wants people to be successful, right? Do better than your predecessors. Be the better streamer. That's how you make it to the top, is you just be better. And anyone who's humble enough would say that said person is not the be-all end-all, the most knowledgeable person ever. There are other sources of knowledge to draw upon, better sources of knowledge to draw upon. But what matters most of all, at least in my opinion, is that you get to know yourself. You take the time to get to know and understand yourself. And you make the best use you can out of what you know. Now, it doesn't matter if you're soulless corpo chasing clout, need money, maximize efficiency, yada yada, or if you're a starving artist who loves the work but can't get enough to pay rent, let alone afford a box of Pop-Tarts. Either way, knowing thyself is key to achieving what you dream of doing. That's all there is to that. Know thyself, then know thy enemy. And ultimately, the enemy in this scenario is whoever you choose for it to be. Who is your enemy? Who do you choose to ally yourself with? Who do you choose to hate? Who do you want to despise? Those are choices you make on your own. That's not something I can or have any interest in determining for you. I do have the right to tell you this, though. If you do pick your friends, I certainly wouldn't mind being one of them. Because after all this, if you're still sticking around, after all of this rambling and nonsense and boring shit, all this lame crap about feelings and mushiness, when you could be watching a streamer that's like playing, I don't know, fucking Stuntman or something, like Twisted Metal, or something more exciting and interesting. If you're still here after all this, you clearly have the ability to grow stronger, to be better. And you are in the right frame of mind to really reflect on that. And I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for having that much dedication to improving yourself. You're doing good. Keep it up. And for goodness sake, pay attention to people who are more helpful to you than me. I'm just some dude rambling on about his feelings and stuff. You should be checking out people who tell you things that are actually productive. Not this feel-good stuff about how you seek what you want in life. Go out there and do the best you can to be the best you can be. It's funny. This video is entirely unscripted because I hate scripts. I really don't like using scripts unless I'm doing like actual lore videos and stuff. It was supposed to be just a checklist of bam, 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 bam. Here's all the shit I wrote down. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. No, this kind of turned into a bit more tangential than that. Tangential? Anyways, I started getting too sidetracked, is my point. So I apologize for taking up so much of your time, but I thank you for dedicating it to this video. I really appreciate you still sticking around despite it all. I mean, unless you skipped to the end, in which case I don't know what you were expecting to find here. Boo, I guess? I don't know. Well, welcome to October, I guess? Have a scary sound effect? Question mark? I don't know what you're expecting to find at the end of a video like this. But, you know. For the rest of you who had the patience to stick through it all, I'm sorry I'm so sappy, but, you know, full disclosure, I'm just getting shit off my chest, I guess. I don't know. And I recommend that you do the same at some point, in some way or another, in your own method, however which way you choose. Whether it be through painting, or writing, or doing videos, you know, videos like this, I guess, I don't know. Either way, get your feelings out there, you know? Embrace who you are. Because that's more important than you think. And it's rarer than you can imagine. Well, I gotta go feed and pet the puppo, so I'll see you around. Hopefully I can get this next video up, and I'm sorry about the wonky ass way that it cut off last time. Internet being internet and all that. In any case, take care, have a good night, good morning, etc. And treat yourself and others with the respect befitting of a king.